Are no stranger to drama and chaos. That's what they're built on. But following the recent cancellation of the new season of The Bachelorette, some experts believe that that response actually signals a shift in how we view relationships, not just reality TV.
Yeah. Okay, so we are joined by lawyer and author Gabriella Pomare, who is in Sydney, Australia this morning. So thank you so much for joining us, because I know it's a whole different part of your day.
What time is it?
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It is very early.
Oh, my goodness. Well, you've got more about these modern dynamics and how they're changing. Obviously, we're specifically talking about this whole Bachelorette situation. That video surfaced of the would-have-been Bachelorette and her ex having an argument, a physical confrontation. But the main key of it, though, was that their daughter was sitting on the couch in the same room where all this was happening and was definitely affected by the argument that she saw between these two adults. So now the video is floating around on social media, and you're saying that people are now saying, okay, enough is enough with the chaos and the drama.
Yeah, I felt really conflicted as soon as I saw that video, particularly when that stool hit that little child. And I think it's also because of what I do for work. And straight away, I started looking into it. And I was thinking, drama no longer can be perceived as romance. We shouldn't be, giving people who are involved in this sort of family violence and toxicity the fame and the TV shows and the publicity. And I think audiences, realistically, they're seeing a shift now. People are starting to recognize that what used to be seen as passion, high ratings is actually really emotional instability, and it's a lack of safety. And I think this really matters, because when TV shows start normalizing, volatile behavior, we're starting to really blur that line between drama and harm. And these days, audiences, I think they're definitely more emotional literate. They're asking the harder questions about what they're watching, and they're starting to understand that it's the unpredictability and the control and the conflict that maybe isn't romantic.
So you mentioned that you have started to see this show up in your work. We mentioned you are a lawyer. How is this showing up in your work?
I mean, I see it every day, and relationships start off as they don't look obviously unsafe. We see the intensity, the passion, the relationship's all consuming, but over time, that intensity, it becomes conflict, and then that conflict starts to escalate, and we start seeing patterns of emotional dysregulation, the controlling behavior, the communication breaking down, and that then turns into family violence. And that's what I saw in this video. I've been watching this show, all the seasons of it, and you see that so deeply. So when I talk about these, these topics and these issues, it's not theory, it's really grounded. I mean, family law is full of it, and we're seeing these dynamics play out, moving, from chemistry and love to something that's genuinely unsafe, and people need to start stepping in.
I want to ask you, Gabriella, about how this impacts society as a whole, because, for example, I'm going to use this example of Shawnee Henderson, who is the creator of Basketball Wives. She's gone on record acknowledging that it's not the best look for Black women, women of color, to be looked at in this light, in this chaos, and there's drama, and they're yelling, and there's fighting, and all that kind of stuff. So, but it seems like for so many years that was acceptable for certain groups, but now maybe it's not for other groups. Are you seeing any impacts societally where that's concerned as well?
Yeah, I think you're right. And in the past, we were getting high ratings. People, they thrived off the drama, and we see it in all the shows, all the housewife shows, right? Yeah. But I think the reality is that these TV shows don't just reflect relationships, friendship groups, those dynamics anymore. What they're doing is they're shaping for society, in particular, younger generations, teenagers, young adults. They're shaping what love should look like and relationships. And by rewarding the characters, or the real people, because that's what they are, we're rewarding chaos, we're rewarding volatility, reactive behavior, and that's setting a really dangerous benchmark. I mean, we see with Taylor behavior that is really unsafe. And I mean, I think in my experience that sort of prompted a more serious conversation with producers and programmers around, boundaries, responsibility, safety, because that's what we need to be teaching our younger audiences, that sort of behavior, it's not okay. And it's not okay when children are involved. Yeah. I think in terms of society, and what we see playing out is maybe people waking up to that now and saying, hang on, that's no longer sitting comfortably with me. There's something not right about this behavior.
So you mentioned people are waking up to that. So that means I would think we're going to see relationships, people that maybe are in relationships that are not going well, they're going to be coming to an end, not necessarily just because of this show. But in your work, what do you see? What happens after that when somebody does finally leave an abusive relationship? I can't imagine it just ends right there. There's got to be a tail to it.
No, I mean, it's a long-term impact, right? I mean, that's the difficult part of it. And particularly where there's been emotional safety in a relationship, that doesn't disappear when a relationship ends. And that's what you see with the whole Taylor and Dakota story. I mean, that relationship's now over and we still see the toxicity. But it then also carries into the co-parenting relationship, which is something I write about a lot. I wrote a book about it. And the problem is you then have children who are exposed to this ongoing tension, the conflict, the instability. So what we need to do is start protecting these children by, imploring these adults to say, wake up to yourselves and start putting in place the right strategies to co-parent more healthy, to get rid of that the toxicity, because they've got the responsibility to create safety for the children. The risk isn't the relationship between the adults, it's the ongoing environment for the kids afterwards.
Yeah. Gabriella Pomare, she's the author of The Collaborative Co-Parent. You can find her book on Amazon as well as Barnes & Noble. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us this morning. I know it's early for you.
I looked
Thank
it
you
up.
for having
The
me.
next day. Yeah.
3:24 a.m. I looked it up.
I'm in the future. That's it.
Thank you, Gabrielle.
Thank you, Gabriella.
Thank you.